utilizing a unique trust fund and clever tokenomics to ensure everlasting growth for investors. All right, what's up, everybody? Ross here with the Degen Project. Welcome to the channel. So this is actually my very first YouTube video on this channel, and I just want to give a quick introduction. So the Degen Project is all about DeFi in the crypto space. Over the last week, I've really kind of gone down this rabbit hole. I've been in crypto and NFTs for a couple years now. I've done very well, and I just started finding some of these really degenerate, stupid, high yield investment projects like Titano and Libero that have done fairly well, but it's still, in my mind, in traditional investing, is just like ridiculously high yield, extremely high risk, and so in my mind, it's degenerate investing. And so the purpose of this channel is to kind of highlight some of these projects, and I myself am going to actually be putting in some investments, $100 or $1,000 into some of these projects, and we'll be tracking them for the lulz and seeing how it goes. So that's really the whole purpose of this channel, that I'm just going to be reporting on any of these new, like, super high yield, super risky projects, and I'm going to be putting my money on the line just for the fun of it and purely for your entertainment. Now, with that being said, going down the rabbit hole, I actually found a new project that is actually very different. So a lot of the projects that I was talking about that are like high yield and extremely high risk and kind of degenerate programs and projects are rebase projects, right? Where the token has a rebase percentage. And so what that means is, say you buy 100 tokens, right? 100 coins of whatever project it is. Say the daily yield is somewhere around 2%. Well, you don't have to stake it or anything like that. The token automatically rebates, or does a rebase in your wallet. So you may hold 100 tokens, and after a day, maybe the yield is 2%, right? So you would now have 102 tokens, and it automatically starts compounding on top of itself. So the next day you would gain 2.02, whatever it is, tokens. Again, 0.04, right? And then the next day it would compound and continue to grow and continue to compound on itself. So this is hyperinflationary. This is very this is very bad as far as the economics are concerned. But as long as there's constant buy pressure, as long as there's constantly new people joining these programs, then the price continues to at least stay balanced or increase, regardless of the amount of new coins that are getting pumped into circulation by the rebase percentage that is compounding and growing at a rapid rate. So these are some of the projects that I've been looking at, and there is one that I found that is absolutely completely different, that is not really degenerate at all. So much so that I've been learning more about their tokenomics and really what they're doing with this project. And it actually looks like a really pretty cool project here. And so I wanted to put together a video. I know, like, unironically, it has nothing to do with the Degen project, but it's just a really cool project that I think could do really well. And the mathematics and the tokenomics behind it is really, really cool because it's deflationary. It's not hyperinflationary like a lot of these degenerate high yield projects are. This one is completely the opposite. So I've got them pulled up here. Of course, you can see $1 Million Baby. This is a project here, and it's very, very interesting. And so I wanted to do in this video here today with you guys is just kind of go through this project. We're going to pull up the white paper and just kind of get a little bit of a better understanding about this project and exactly what it does. So their website here, it's mdb.fund. Their whole kind of premise that they have a trust fund here. And this is a very important utility of their project because this is the deflationary aspect of their project where they're going to be buying back and burning tokens to reduce the total supply. So I'm always very bullish on projects that have deflationary mechanisms inside of it, which by burning tokens reduces the total supply while the market cap will pretty much always remain the same, therefore increasing your average value per token. So with that being said, let's kind of keep going down here. There's a couple phases that they have in the project as well. So these are timelines. I did hear something earlier today about phase 2 actually being a separate coin, being a BUSD backed stable token. So this is really cool as well. And then phase 3, they're going to be able to do some staking for a liquidity pool between $1 Million Baby and BNB token as well. So they have some other things as well. They have their KYC done with Obsidian Council. There's another one coming in a little bit as well. Anyways, so with that being said, let's just go ahead. Let's pull up the white paper here. So I'm going to jump in and I just want to go through this. So the $1 Million Baby is an innovative DeFi token on the Binance Smart Chain network, utilizing a unique trust fund and clever tokenomics to ensure everlasting growth for investors. Utilizing compound effective tokenomics deflationary mechanism, again, that was the fund that we'll talk about in a little bit more here. It's going to deliver perpetual growth for holders, no more boom and bust. Buys and sells are welcome, ensuring eternal growth for holders. So there's a couple things that they've already been doing. So the goal here is, both sustainability and fairness in mind, create wealth for as many people as possible. Our token works in a way that means there's constant price pressure, which again is like the buyback and burning, which we'll talk about in a little bit here as well. Being the Binance Smart Chain token, you can buy and shill with zero doubts or concerns, which is very funny. So how it works. So they designed a system that acts as a growth engine and what they call an insurance policy all in one. So our trust fund is a high interest generating investment with the interest used to buy back and burn the token. Now, this part I'll kind of talk about a little bit here, the high interest like earning fund. A little bit of skepticism there on my part, honestly, like full transparency. There's some really high numbers that they're talking about on a monthly yield, at least in traditional investing sense. Crypto's a little bit different, but we'll get there. Generating constant and everlasting buy pressure. So our unique trust fund will be worth well over 50% of market cap at launch, which is pretty huge. So they're allocating 50% of the market cap is going to be in the trust fund, and many multiples of the liquidity, ensuring a significant impact on growth from day one. Clever tokenomics ensure the trust fund always grows, and our consolidation mechanism will ensure that the trust fund has the biggest impact on the price when it is needed. So the trust fund will buys will be burned forever, reducing supply at a rapid rate and delivering further price growth for holders as a percentage supply you hold increases. Heavy sell-offs purely lead to greater impact on the growth from the trust fund, with the fund reaching an even greater multiple of liquidity. So the way it works, right, is the trust fund is buying, and the way it buys is holders sell for profits, right? A percentage of their sales goes to the trust fund, which grows, right? New buyers come in, say if the price comes down, new buyers come in, increasing the price, but percentage of the buys goes to the trust fund. Holders sell for profit, right? Again, goes into the trust fund. The trust fund, through an investments, generates profits, right? Those profits, depending on the market conditions, depending on the action of the project, will then buy tokens out of liquidity and burn them, right? So it's going to be constantly used as a tool to buy coins and burn them out of liquidity, so that there is no more of those tokens, right? It's destroying them, which is very, very cool. This is the deflationary aspect of it. So if we go through tokenomics, they have some more information here I've kind of found through the Discord. Their tokenomics, their max supply is 1 billion tokens, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the max supply is going to be 1 billion tokens, and then they'll begin burning from there basically on the launch. So the following taxes apply. Now, this is a very cool part of the tokenomics that they've kind of pulled from a lot of these like really high yield, like risky ass DeFi projects that are like, 150,000% APY throughout a year, right? It's like, that's just ridiculous. It's not sustainable. A lot of these, they struggle after a few months. But with a lot of those projects, they have very high buy and sell taxes to kind of do, it's multifaceted, right? One aspect of it is that it doesn't really encourage people from pumping and dumping, right? Because there's such high taxes that it really encourages holding to make sure you can kind of recoup the taxes that you paid on purchase and on exit, right? So it helps kind of lock people in and make people hold for a lot longer than they potentially would if that tax didn't exist. Second, it allows them to recuperate some of the, the sell pressure and the buy pressure into a fund for, some projects do burning. They do like 2% that goes into burning, things like that. So there are some other deflationary mechanisms that are in there. But it really, when you look at the mathematics of it, the 2% of like a buy or a sell that goes to burning doesn't even come anywhere near the amount of inflation that's being caused on a daily basis just by the rebate amount or the rebase amount of the tokens. So it kind of like the math doesn't always end up making sense, and it's always constantly in an inflationary state. Whereas this is very interesting. So they have, some fairly high taxes when you're purchasing. 10% buy tax, right? 8% goes into the fund and 2% into marketing operations. Now, this is cool. I like this transparency because it's showing like, hey, yeah, look, there's marketing behind this. There's operational, individuals and personnel behind it as well. So a percentage of that, people got to get paid to run and support this project, which I'm totally fine with. So that's cool that they have that there. Trust fund, 8% as well, which goes into the fund, which then can be used to invest and grow, and profits of the trust fund can then be used to buy back and burn tokens at will, which is really cool. Sell tax, same thing, 15%, right? A little bit higher on the sell tax, Again, 12% going to the trust fund, 3% going to marketing and operations. So trust fund, this is where I personally get a little bit of skepticism just on the growth numbers that they're kind of predicting here. So the trust fund is going to be invest strategically into a bunch of different, high interest and low risk assets and DeFi things and products and things like that. So they are kind of diversifying a little bit. So they're doing a 70-20-10 split across balance of, risk reward of different things that they're going into, right? So farming projects, DeFi projects, smaller tokens as well with potential like really significant ROI. And with the recent model demonstrating 19% growth in a single calendar month. So this is where honestly, like personally, some of my skepticism comes in, right? 90% growth annually in traditional is fucking insane. Like that's really, really good numbers, right? You're crushing the market essentially if you can produce 19% annually on an ongoing basis, on a consistent basis, right? So taking that into consideration, I do understand that, crypto and DeFi, it's, these numbers are definitely different, right? I mean, personally, I've had projects where I've, gone into NFTs that have done 30x's, 50x's, right? You can hit these big bangers and get some really good returns on your investment, but doing it consistently is another story. And that's where there's a little bit of skepticism for myself, just being completely honest and transparent here, right? But 19% growth in a single calendar month, it's reserved enough where it's like, okay, that could be potential. And if they've got a really good manager and they've got a really good portfolio, personally, I would actually rather, if they can actually produce these kind of yields on a monthly basis, I would love them to open up a fund for extra investors where I could put in, an allotment of resources of money. And if they could net me 10% growth on a monthly basis, on an almost guaranteed basis, I would be in love with that for sure. 10% a month would be absolutely insane. But regardless, this is what their goals is for the fund, right? 19% growth in a single calendar month. So if they can consistently grow the fund, again, at the launch, they're planning for this to have about 50% of the market cap, as well as, again, any of the buy pressure, any of the buys or the sells that come through based on tokenomics. There's more and more money getting put into the trust fund to be able to leverage for more investments, for more growth. So as long as this is being grown very well, right, this has massive potential to act as that mechanism that they're talking about where it can buy and burn tokens to cause a deflationary state in this project, which is very, very cool. And this is what I absolutely love about the project. So they've got a little bit of an idea here of like allotment into some low risk stuff, some medium and some high risk stuff. You guys can feel free to pull this up. I'm not going to go through all the details. And it's really cool. They have kind of a signal system that's going to be used as an indicator for $1 million baby holders. So a buy window, right? When the price is low and the trust fund is more than 20% of market cap, probability of buys are high. Some or all interest accumulated during this period may be used, right? So if the price is low and the trust fund ends up being much higher, right? Over 20% of the market cap, interest earned from the trust fund is then going to be used to buy and burn the token, right? So this is the cool part where they kind of have this like balancing mechanism that's going to be fluctuating as the price kind of changes for them to be able to then determine when is a good time for the fund to go in and buy and burn some of the tokens. Stable, when the fund is between 10 to 20% of market cap, buys are less likely, but it is possible. And then consolidation time, when the trust fund is under 10% of market cap, probability of buy is very low here, with interest typically is going to be fed back into the main trust fund to continue growing and continue compounding on itself. So you have some other mechanisms here. Mega buys, no more than 5% of the trust fund value in a calendar month. So I'm assuming what they're saying here is that, I don't exactly know, but I'm assuming the mega buys, maybe they're going to do like, if it's very high, maybe they might allocate no more than 5% of the trust fund to actually use all that resources of the trust fund to buy and burn. So maybe if the price has a significant dip where the trust fund is like 30, 40% of market cap, maybe then they're like, hey, let's take 5% of it, buy and burn, right? So that could be the potential there. I'm not 100%, but that's kind of what I'm getting from this. Other holder rewards, right? So airdrops of tokens to holders, rewarding promotion and loyalty, that kind of stuff, which is pretty cool, more for like the community. Now, the ecosystem. So here's their plans here. So phase one is the launch, which is going to be, we're going to get to the dates in a little bit here. So this is the buy and sell taxes, right? Phase 2 is going to be another coin. Again, this is going to be a BUSD backed stable coin where they are still going to have a buy tax of 1 to 2%. They really wanted to reduce it for traders, right? If people do want to kind of swing trade or do anything like that, hey, go for it. And then phase 3 is for staking. So I'm assuming this is going to be staking the $1 million baby coin and the BNB in the liquidity pool based on this, on what this says here. I'm not 100% on the timeline or anything like that. If anyone knows, feel free to drop it down in the content or in the comments. So beyond crypto, the team has ambitions to develop additional use cases, leveraging the team's extensive business experience across a range of industries. Phase 4 will also launch more details to be revealed in due course. So they've got a little bit of a blurb here of how it's different. I've really kind of, explained quite a bit of this. Again, the fund really acts, it does really act as that insurance policy. As long as it can maintain a solid growth, right? Even if it's not 19% monthly, if it's like 10% monthly or something like that, it doesn't really matter because that growth is going to just be able to constantly go in and buy and burn. Even if there is no growth in the trust fund, just from the action, just from buy pressure and sell pressure, people buying and selling the coin, the tax rate is going to be going into the fund. And whenever the fund gets above that certain percentage, it's going to start buying back coins and burning them, right? So no matter what happens on the actual investment portfolio of the trust fund, as long as it doesn't go bankrupt, but I highly doubt that'll happen. As long as it maintains, right, it's constantly going to be growing steady from the buys and sells of the token, right? So it's a really interesting tool here. I really think the tokenomics on this is great. Again, I love deflationary, so I think it's fantastic. A little bit about the team. They did mention, I think it's in the FAQs in the Discord, they talk about 6 months or $100 million market cap. The team will dox themselves, I believe, and kind of like, actually share who they are. So that's kind of cool. But there isn't really a whole lot of information there other than the KYC verified by the House of Obsidian. So launch dates. So whitelist phase 1. They're doing a whitelist phase 1 launch, 15th of April. I believe it's going to be 0.25 cents per token. So $0.0025 per token, 0.25 cents. On the whitelist pre-sales. Whitelist phase 2 is going to be the 22nd of April, and then public launch is the 29th of April, where it's going to be 0.3 cents per token, I believe. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. So how to buy. They were going to be doing, they've already updated. Okay, cool. So they were going to be doing a sale through that pink app. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. But they've actually going to be updating. They're going to be doing the pre-sale through the D app on their website, which is really cool. They have a new kind of website coming out shortly here as well. And then once they do the official launch, they're going to be launching on PancakeSwap as well. So last but not least, of course, Discord, Telegram, community. Definitely jump in there. The community is pretty cool from what I've seen so far. There's always tons of stuff going on. A lot of like giveaways and stuff like that as we're kind of building up to the launch for the whitelist 1 and 2. So yeah, that's it for this video on $1 Million Baby. Really cool project. I love the tokenomics behind it. I think it's got some really cool features and functionality there in the token, and I'm really excited to see how this goes. So whether I'm on whitelist or not, I'm definitely going to be putting in some investments during the launch. So if you want, subscribe, follow the channel. I'm going to be putting out a lot more videos on some other degenerate projects that are really high risk, and I highly don't recommend you put money in, but I'm going to do it for the sacrifice and for your entertainment purely. So with that being said, go ahead. I'll put the links for $1 Million Baby. I'll put the Discord links and their website links below this video. Check them out. Learn a little bit more about the project. Do your own research as always. I'm not a financial advisor. Don't recommend you to purchase anything, but hey, if it's something that makes sense and you're interested in the project, check them out.